Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and as we worry that we may run out of popcorn whilst watching the Prime Minister implode, our eyes are on the next inevitable scandal that will dog Boris Johnson in the form of more lies, but more worryingly, the potential for a humiliating report which may find that our head of government broke the law and misled both Parliament and his own adviser on MPs' interests over the lavish refurbishment of his Downing Street flat. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news in politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So I had mentioned this towards the end of this morning's video, but it was another story that just expanded somewhat. Yesterday, the Electoral Commission published their report into the funding of Boris Johnson's Downing Street flat refurbishment. Now, the Prime Minister is given a budget to refurbish the flat. It's all fair enough. You know, he's expected to live there whilst in office, and there's nothing wrong with having it in your preferred style. But his wife's tastes are a little bit lavish, and the more than adequate for most people £30,000 budget for such a refurbishment wasn't going to meet her expectations. They were going to need way more money. No problem, they're wealthy people, they can supplement the spend with their own money. Just one problem. Boris Johnson doesn't like putting his hands in his pockets, except maybe for his stash, so he wanted someone else to pay for it. We have since learned that a company owned by Conservative Party donor Lord Brownlow paid over £50,000 towards the project. That seems a bit dodgy. A donor may want something in return for their donation. It's not a good look for the Prime Minister to accept such a large sum of money, particularly for something personal. This isn't government spending, remember, although it's a government department, a building as such. You know, it's his home, and the flat there, whilst he is Prime Minister, is for his personal use, and the refurbishment is personal to him. So it can raise suspicions if the donor receives any future government contracts. Even if they're innocent. They might be entirely innocent, but it doesn't half raise suspicions of corruption. Best not tell anyone about it then, Johnson seemed to have decided. So the donation was not declared. Well, this is dead against the rules. And when I say the rules, I mean the law. The Electoral Commission have now determined that the law was broken and have fined the Conservative Party just under £20,000. I think it's like 17,000 something. Peanuts, obviously. But the Electoral Commission doesn't really have the power to punish anyone who breaks these laws, only to have it recorded that they have done so. Others are then supposed to take up any individual investigations. For example, if there's a criminal investigation, the police. The Metropolitan Police were supposed to investigate criminal charges against people in the Vote Leave campaign group after the Electoral Commission determined that they had broken the law during the Brexit referendum campaign. That would have included investigating senior Conservatives such as Michael Gove and Boris Johnson. The investigation did not proceed. Quelle surprise. But on this occasion, it's not the police who would be investigating, although they should, but the Standards Commission definitely will. She's the one who recently found Owen Paterson to be in breach of the rules and will now be investigating Boris Johnson's role in this affair. Now, just because the Conservative Party have collectively broken the law doesn't mean that Boris Johnson is personally culpable. The Prime Minister argued that he was not aware of the source of the funding. So Boris Johnson is not only claiming that he was unaware of a boisterous party taking place in his own house, but that he was also unaware of who paid for his flat redecoration. One has to wonder if he's even aware of who wipes his own arse at this point. I mean, how can you claim you don't know how your own personal expenditure was funded? But that's his line, and he's sticking to it. In their report, the Electoral Commission noted the defence that Boris Johnson was completely unaware of Brownlow's involvement until February 2021, which is when the media report started to emerge. However, the Commission found a record of the Prime Minister messaging Brownlow on WhatsApp. Those little WhatsApp messages asking him to sort out further refurbishment works. Now, this message was from late November 2020, several months before Boris Johnson claimed to have known that Brownlow was involved. And consider that this message is asking Brownlow for further works. So Johnson must already have been in contact with him previously for the original planned works. The Commission then made mention of a confirmation from Brownlow to a senior party official that he would cover the cost personally, also from late November 2020. Now at this point, I need to draw attention to a bit of a trap laid by Keir Starmer months ago when the issue first came to public attention. In Prime Minister's questions, Johnson was trapped into saying that he paid for the work personally. Well, this report says that Brownlow covered the costs personally. So at the very least, he has misled the House and should resign. But in terms of the report itself, of course, Johnson could deny knowledge of that communication. Though, as I say, it beggars belief that he wouldn't be involved in knowing how a personal redecoration project would be worked out. Also, if Johnson can't get Parliament to shut up shop early next week, then there will be a final Prime Minister's questions next Wednesday before Christmas. I have a little hunch that Keir Starmer may well be recalling his question from earlier this year and the Prime Minister's answer. Shall we have a little listen?
As for the latest stuff that he's bringing up, he should know that I paid for Downing Street refurbishment personally, Mr. Speaker, and I contrast it. Any further declaration that I have to make, I will, if any, I will be advised upon by Lord. I have covered the costs, and I think most people will find it absolutely bizarre. And of course there's an Electoral Commission investigating this, and I can tell him that I've conformed in full with the Code of Conduct, with ministerial code, and
Then we come to Lord Geidt. Now, Geidt was appointed by Boris Johnson to be his personal advisor on MPs' interests. Geidt investigated the refurbishment affair and found the Prime Minister to be innocent of any wrongdoing. We didn't see that coming, did we? Geidt is looking like a right Charlie now because Boris Johnson lied to him during the course of his investigation. Lord Geidt made his, even at the time, ill-considered judgment on the basis of Johnson telling him he knew nothing of the funding before February 2021. Now, this is not a house of cards that's going to collapse quickly. There is an appeal process, and the Conservative Party have 28 days to decide whether or not to appeal. I imagine they will run the clock down and then appeal to string it out as much as possible. Whether this delays the Standards Commissioner carrying out her own investigation, I do not yet know. It might be that she proceeds anyway because she won't be interfering with the Electoral Commission's investigation now, but I don't know. What I do know is that at some point there will be a definitive ruling where the appeals processes have been exhausted. The Conservative Party broke the law based on proof that Boris Johnson lied to Lord Geidt in his own botched investigation. What will Lord Geidt do? If he resigns, that puts a lot of pressure on Boris Johnson because what he's basically saying is the Prime Minister lied to him, which also means he lied to the House. If Geidt doesn't resign, he makes him look like someone for whom the truth is of no value. So he ruins his future credibility. And what of the Conservative Party Treasurer? Even if Boris Johnson somehow manages to dodge out this one, I cannot see how, but even if he somehow manages to dodge out of this one, the party treasurer, who like all recent Conservative Party treasurers has donated several £1 to the party, presumably in return, like all the others, for a seat in the House of Lords later. I noted he was knighted in the same year that he made that donation and was made treasurer. He's thoroughly implicated. They've broken the law. Even without a criminal investigation by the police, which will surely not occur, they are disgraced. How keen are they going to be to carry the can for Johnson's greed? The damage that this report is causing cannot be overstated. There's a reason that the government are actively right now, through legislation, trying to clip the wings of the Electoral Commission and bring it under political control. They want it directly controlled by Michael Gove. This story right here is Exhibit A in why they want to do that. Now, like I say, there's still time for Boris Johnson and his supporters to pull a few fast ones here. You know, they've got the time to appeal. If they run that appeal, why wouldn't they, if they want to play for time, then they have a bit more time. But this may expedite Johnson's exit from Downing Street. I discussed this morning that he could still hang on for quite a while because it's not enough for Tory MPs to want him gone. They also need to be sure that they can replace him with someone suitable. No point in acting in haste and getting someone just as useless. But can they afford to have the Standards Commissioner fined against the Prime Minister? It's embarrassing enough against a backbench MP. But actually, if Johnson hadn't tried to get Patterson off, most of the public wouldn't have even known about it. It would have just quietly happened, the public largely unaware. It's quite newsworthy if it's going to be the Prime Minister. The head of government's unthinkable. If it looks like the Commissioner has enough on Johnson personally, that he's not going to dodge out of this one, they may have to drop him earlier than planned to get him gone before that report comes out, in order to avoid that humiliation. But that's what I know for now. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.